Hi, my name's Keith Cooper from Northlight Images, and I'm going to have a quick look at printing greetings cards. Now, I'm using the Canon PRO-300 printer here, which works very well for this, but lots of other printers will support printing greeting cards. But there are a few things you need to consider before you try it, because you can waste a lot of paper and a lot of card if you're not careful. Now, the examples I've got here, quite a few different sizes, are from a local paper supplier called Paper Spectrum here in Leicester. Now, the ones I've got, there are lots of different sizes. These are A4. They fold down the middle, so that's A5 per card. These are also A5 per card, but they fold down the middle this way, so you get a card that goes that direction. Here is an A5 card that folds to A6, and here's a A5 landscape card. This is on a different paper. This is on an etching type paper, so this is a matte paper. These are semi-gloss papers. And here's another one, 150mm square folds. So you've got lots of sizes, and as I say, many paper suppliers will produce cards like this cut, and they usually come with envelopes as well, so you've not got the worry of finding odd size envelopes after you've made your cards. But anyway, there are a few things you need to consider when you're doing printing, and I'll just do a quick example to show what you need to think about. So here are some cards I've printed. I'm going to show an example of printing in a moment, but there's an important difference between these that is quite important and varies depending on whichever printer you use, and that is borders or borderless printing. You'll see this card here prints up to the edge. Likewise with this one here. That's because they're paper sizes which are supported borderless by this printer and the printer driver. That varies from printer to printer, so do check your printer first as to what sizes it prints borderless if borderless cards matter to you. However, you can set custom print sizes on almost any printer, and I've created custom page sizes with, in this example, 5mm margins. So I put my image in and I get a nice 5mm margin around the edge. Likewise with this size. So these are paper sizes that are not supported as borderless by this particular printer. So if you try and print borderless when it's not supported, you will get margins. And the margins are unpredictable, which means that you could get a long margin on one side, short margin on another, which you don't really want, because the whole idea is to reduce the wastage when you're testing this so that you don't end up wasting too many sheets of your card. I would suggest, if you've got some plain paper the same size, practice on the plain paper first. One other tip, these packs come in a sort of clear cellophane type wrapper. They have a sticky strip along the top that seals them. However, that sticky strip can easily, once it's been opened, can easily mark your paper. So one of the things I always do with these is actually cut off the sticky strip so that it's not going to damage the card inside. That goes with any type of photo paper, really. I still find some suppliers supply paper in things with sticky on and you lose a sheet or two. For printing greeting cards, I don't set the size here in the display. I set it on the computer and that overrides here. I do set the paper type here, in this case a semi-gloss, but I don't set sizes on the printer. You can do that, but it's more reliable, I found, to actually do it on the computer. And in particular, I've produced presets for printing that I save so that I use one of my templates, use a piece of paper I know the size of, produce the image, and it should print okay. Now, this is a 7x5 sheet, folds in half. You can see it's already pre-creased. So the crease here. If I'm printing borderless, I actually need to print slightly over the crease so that when the card is folded, I don't get a thin white line along the edge of it. Now that's taken care of in the templates I've designed, so we shouldn't get a problem with it. It's just about 1.5 mm or so of overprint over this side that I allow for. So I'll put a sheet in here and load that up. And the printer's now loaded up. I'll just show a couple of examples of how I'm printing here. I'm using some templates I've created for different paper sizes, and this particular example is the AA5 landscape. Now I can't print that borderless, so the guides I've set have a 5mm margin. So if I was to print this particular image, the image would have a margin. Now I've set up custom page size for this. It's quite simple to do. It varies depending on what software, whether you're using a PC or a Mac, and what printer you're using, but the principles are just the same. But anyway, I've got lots more information on the website, so you can also download the templates I've produced if they're of any use to you. Now this picture of Leicester Clock Tower, you can see the margin in place when I'm going to print it. If I'm printing borderless, such as this example, which is the 7x10 paper, and so that's two 7x5 images, I can actually just drop the photo on, overlap the edges slightly, print it, and it should print. I haven't needed to set up a custom size here because 7x10 borderless is supported by the Canon PRO-300, so that's why now I can print borderless. So anyway, let's save this, and then I'll click the print and send a print to the printer. I've started the printing and it will print normally. The paper's drawn in and it will draw it through and it will print on one side. When you're doing cards, do make sure you put the picture on the right side of the image, because otherwise you get cards that fold the wrong way. And here we are, it's printing perfectly normally. Yes, this is a quite thickish photo paper. It's effectively a semi-gloss paper, but slightly thicker. Most printers will have no trouble in handling this. Some you may need to use a front feed or an alternate feed, but in general this works perfectly well. Here we see the image coming out, and it has printed fractionally over the fold, which is exactly what I wanted. Now this was printed at the standard medium quality setting. There's no real reason for cards and the like to go to a high quality setting. Obviously you need to match the image to the paper. I've used the Canon semi-gloss printer profile for this, but use whatever you would normally use for your photo printing. The important thing about printing cards is getting the layout right. And here's the card. So you can see it's overprinted slightly on the fold. And if I fold it, we can see I have a perfectly good card. This is, by the way, the fountain outside the town hall at Leicester, taken at Christmas. So somebody may be getting that this year for a Christmas card. Anyway, I hope that's given a bit of an idea about printing greetings cards. Have a look at the articles and related information on the Northlight website, where you can also find some of my templates you can download for printing. They're not specific to this printer, but they're Photoshop documents with rulers in place and layout explanations for making your own cards. So I hope that's been of help. Thank you very much.